Welcome, everyone, to episode 24 of Sis and
Woo!
Big Pop's Culture. I am Big Pops, also known as Todd Turner, also known as KYM Medicine Man, also known as Mosaic Fan Art, and I was called Tugboat in middle school.
I wore that T-shirt to
Toot toot.
band practice, man.
And as
I
always,
am
my host is.
I'm Sis, aka Hannah Joe, and together we are a father and adult daughter duo. We dive into all things geek, nerd, and fandom. Every episode is family friendly. Doo doo ba doop boop boop.
That's our family friendly link jingle.
It's
Jingle. Boop,
not.
boop, boop,
It's
boop.
not.
It's
We
not.
have a
We need
different
one.
jingle every single
I like jingles,
week.
jingle jangles, and toot nannies, and all that good stuff.
Jingle, jingle, jingle.
Oh,
Ding,
don't.
ding,
I
ding,
thought you
ding,
said we
ding.
can't do all this other
No,
music or we'll get
we'll get in
yanked.
trouble. We'll get
Hey,
yanked.
Hannah, set us up. What's going on this
Yeah, so
week?
we have news as per the usual. We're going to talk about what we're binging. I saw on your Instagram and Facebook, Dad, that you have a couple new comics for us in your lineup. I saw Homesick Pilots. I saw Thor, so I'm excited to potentially hear about those. We're going to be talking about the movie Thunder Force with
Thunder!
Melissa McCarthy and Octavia Spencer. It was straight
Thunder!
bonkers. And the comic book, the 6-issue comic run, Deceased.
You read it?
Do you not want to talk about it?
Oh, I do, but I didn't know you were going to get a chance to read it. I'm so
I read
excited.
them.
I'm like a little kid. I'm like jumping in my
Dad's like just like
seat.
shaking in his
It's
yeah.
like the best.
It's the last of the comic books that I have from you. So
Uh-oh. Well, it's okay. I'm going to send you another one by the same guy, Tom Taylor, and we'll hopefully talk about it next week.
love that. Yeah, so I have here they are, Deceased. I read all 6 and the new one
Deceased.
that you gave me too.
Oh, the one A Good Day to Die,
Mhm.
which is we'll talk about it later. So, you ready?
Yeah, do you want me to go first with news? Oh, I'm sorry.
I got to do the
I'm sorry.
nerd news. Yeah, no, I'll go first. So, Alfred Molina played Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2.
And he was signed for the new Spider-Man.
Well, we think, but the internet, well, he actually confirmed it this week. Yeah, I'm in it. And
Woo!
he said, listen, he told him, I can't do all this stuff that I did back then. That was like 20 years ago. And I'm like, I don't know, he's like 67 now, I think.
Is he?
I I think he is. I'm
I
not
don't keep up
100%
with him.
sure. So don't take that as the gospel. I'm sure you could Google it or whatever.
That's
But
the gospel
so the
truth.
guy who said, hey, don't worry about it. Did you see what they did to how they made Samuel L. Jackson look young and how they did this for Colson and how they did this? Don't worry about it. It'll work just fine. So yeah, I love that was my favorite Spider-Man movie.
That was your favorite
We've
Spider-Man
talked about it
movie.
before.
We,
Yeah.
and for me personally,
Mm-hmm.
they go Tom Holland, that guy, Tobey Maguire,
That guy. And
Tobey
then
Maguire,
Andrew
then
Garfield,
Andrew Garfield. But
which is so funny.
I just think that Tom Holland, like when I think of Spider-Man, I think of high school boy,
Mm-hmm.
and Tobey Maguire was never a high school boy.
Here's the deal. It doesn't matter. Everybody can have their own favorite, right?
Yeah,
I'm here for
your
it.
favorite's Tobey Maguire.
We ate with a friend of Nate's today,
Oh,
and she said
fun.
her favorite Batman was Adam West. And I'm like, I'm
Bops.
cool with it,
Adam West bops,
which
man.
is hilarious because in a new issue of I didn't collect it, of a Batman comic book that came out just this week, he reaches into his utility belt and guess what he pulls out?
Shark repellent bat spray.
Yes, he does.
Ooh,
Is that not
yes!
great? Is that not
Woo!
great?
I love
I mean,
that.
sometimes you can't get rid of a bomb.
You just need shark repellent bat spray.
Everybody does. That's right. So what do you got on your news, Hannah Banana?
Um, I saw this is multiple pieces of news for me.
Okay, go.
Was unaware that Amazon was in works to make a Lord of the Rings TV show.
Oh, yeah, they acquired the rights for like 250 million. I think. I don't know, but anyway.
I was unaware that A, it was
Yeah.
going to be a show. B, was unaware what the show was going to be about.
I don't know what it's going to be about.
It
You
is
know that?
like it's like the Silmarillion. Like it's like the
Oh,
creation of
which
everything. You are
I
not.
am using to prop up my
That's
microphone.
hysterical.
So if
Yeah, it's
anybody is
like
watching this on YouTube, I'm showing the Silmarillion. And the reason
Silmarillion.
I use it is because it's 17 inches
Yeah,
thick.
it's thick. That's a thick boy. Um,
That's awesome because I love the Silmarillion.
It's like how the worlds were created and how the
Yes.
kingdoms were
Hmm.
created and all of those.
Exactly.
It's like millions of years before the Hobbit.
Where um elves came from, where
Hmm.
dwarfs came from.
That kind of thing.
Hmm.
$465 million
For
for the
what?
first season.
What? $500 million.
465 million dollars.
Million
Million
dollars.
dollars.
Wow. That's a
Cannot even comprehend how much money that is.
So listen, I told your mom today that
Straight
for
bonkers.
that we put down a down payment to go to Hawaii, and I said I want to take a ring and throw it into a volcano there. And she was like, "What?" I said, "I'm free." Not that that just came out completely wrong about your 30th anniversary, but I just thought, wouldn't that be funny if I just went
Bloop.
bloop? But then I was like, "No, it's mine, my precious." 465
So,
million dollars.
$465 million
That's a buttload of money.
for season one.
Oh gosh, it better rock socks.
I'm just pulling up the article that I had just to
Oh,
make sure that that was
no, no,
right.
no, it's right. I saw it in two different places, and I was like, "What?"
$465 million. They're
Well,
like, we were projecting it would be $500 million, and this is less.
that's a lot of second breakfasts.
I'm like, oh no,
So
that's
did you?
straight bonkers,
Since you're
man.
talking about that, did you see where the Meg 2? I'm serious. Did you see that?
No,
It's coming out.
we saw that in theaters, Dad. Do
I
you remember when
loved
me
it.
and you went and saw that
Oh,
in theaters?
it
And
is
the Hey
like
Mickey.
it is like a yeah, it's like I don't know. There's no point to it, but it's so
Oh,
funny.
it's
It has this
awful.
Jason Statham, Rainn Wilson.
Yes.
They're all back in it again. Ruby Rose is in it. Yeah, so I'm so excited. I don't know why, because
Bobs.
it's like watching
Oh, look at this.
Sharknado. I can't help it. I like those too. Sharknado. Yeah. And
That's so
also,
funny.
I saw that Kirsten Wig and someone else who I don't know who it is. Her name's Anna Mumolo. Do you know who that is? I don't know who she is.
Not off the top of
They
my
are
head. I'm gonna
make
Google her.
they are making a live action Cinderella's Evil Stepsisters movie. Yes, for Disney. I think that might be funny. We just talked a couple weeks ago about how much we love the Roger and Hammerstein
Wow.
um
Oh, why would a fella want a girl
like a
like
girl like
her?
her. Yeah. So that
I
I'm
don't
interested
know.
in.
I don't know
I
who
don't know who
she
she
is.
is. But,
I'm
you know,
confused about like, are they the evil stepsisters?
I don't know if they are or if they're just writing and producing it. It doesn't matter. I think it might be good. So, they'll have to make it PG. It's not going to be PG-13
They're right. They're
because
writing it. They're writing
writing
it.
it. So that could be really funny.
Oh,
Yeah. As long as she doesn't look like Avril Lavigne like she did in the Wonder Woman movie as Cheetah. I couldn't. That was too much for me. Sorry. I know you give me that
she
look.
had Avril Lavigne. I'm just saying, her
Yeah.
ripped pants in that. Did you see that Mad Mickelson is going to be in Indiana Jones 5?
Yeah, but I don't know that I'm excited for Indiana Jones 5. I
I
mean,
mean, why are they
gonna
making?
be like Harrison Ford's like 110 years old. I mean, his whip, he's gonna have a whip and a walker. I mean, I don't know how that's gonna
Daddy,
work. I know that was mean. I shouldn't do that. We
Daddy.
should speak positivity.
Well,
I'm
Harrison
looking
Ford it's
forward.
is dope.
Oh
Is like I just wish that they would have stopped with the like they didn't need to do a fourth one.
no, I know, but it made a buttload of money.
I mean, and they're
So
gonna keep doing it because they're gonna keep making buttloads of money. Speaking of sequels that
what?
maybe should or shouldn't exist,
What?
the
Go. Just say it.
new trailer for F9 came out.
Oh yeah.
For Fast and
So
Furious 9 came out.
are they going to space?
I'm just
Because
this
okay
movie
now.
is gonna be bonkers.
I
And
thought, wait a
I'm
minute, is that a
stoked.
car going into space?
I'm stoked. They've
Here's the
already done
thing.
flying cars. Do you not do you like they jumped from tower to tower in Dubai?
Well, I saw that, but this is
And
like
they
literally
did.
launching off of a
Well, did you see what they did with the magnets?
yes. There ain't no magnets in the history of the world that are that strong.
That's bougie.
They be
That's
pulling
some
out people's like braces, and they're
that's
like
some
and
straight
their
bonkers
teeth and
shenanigans that
okay.
are
So
John Cena is
I
Dom's
know,
brother.
I know you can't see
What?
me. You can't see me. John Cena's in
John
everything.
Cena.
He's in everything. Like you said,
I
like
didn't see Hobbs and I didn't see Shaw.
they're not going to be in it.
I don't think
There's
that they're
no
going to
way.
be in it. I don't think
But
so either.
Helen Mirren was in it.
I saw Helen Mirren too, so maybe maybe Shaw's brother will be in
okay,
it
so
because
I'm
he
giving
also
it
has a
grief.
younger brother.
I am.
I
psyched
love
for it.
these movies, man.
I can't help it. I'll watch them until they don't until Dom is in a he's driving a golf cart at a retirement community in Okeechobee. I could see him, and then they'll
Get out of the way.
put a letter on his door saying you're not allowed to drive a golf cart anymore in this community. Not that might have happened at a retirement community.
That happened.
When we were there.
We were the reason that it became you have to be 16 and older to drive a golf cart.
Thank you, Nathan, for tailgating people in a golf cart.
Because we were driving
It was
too
the greatest. Oh, I missed that.
But
oh.
I literally wrote one word, bonkers.
Well,
That's what my note
covers
says.
it. Bonkers.
I also need to rewatch Tokyo Drift.
Yes, because he's in it. I thought he died.
I thought he died too. And he popped
BTW?
up and I was like, what?
Never saw
what?
I never saw
I watched Tokyo
Maybe
Drift.
he's his twin brother.
At this point,
brother.
I would be like, yeah, okay. I'd buy
get
it. I'd
was
roll with
inside
it.
the safe. The magnets brought him back from an alternate dimension. Who knows? He was in outer space with the Skrulls. Now
Now he's back.
I'm just mixing all.
But
fandoms.
yeah, I need to rewatch Tokyo Drift. And I love them so much.
Me too.
The cool part, I read this somewhere a long time ago. Don't know if this is true or not, but I read that the cars that they use in these things are so expensive
that they use them twice.
That they use them twice, and so that there will always be an even number of movies.
Yeah, you said that a couple episodes ago.
So I hope that there's an F10, y'all.
I don't think my eyeballs can get any bigger.
I'm here for them. I love them
too.
all.
I know. It'll be fun. I can't wait. Netflix has a Godzilla anime coming out.
Okay.
Now, I watched Netflix had a couple Godzilla animated films that were anime, and I watched all of them. I loved them.
They were good?
Yeah. It's like there's no life on planet Earth anymore, or we had left because the monsters had take over, basically, and they're coming back to resettle. And of course, Godzilla's always bad until we realize Godzilla's good, right? So, so that's fun. I have one more piece of news.
Lay it on me, Dad. No, I'm done. This end.
This is major news.
Major.
Okay, so some of you may or may not know that I lead a small group, nerd
small
Bible
group,
study.
baby.
So we take essays that my good friend Hector writes from faithandfandom.org. So go check him out. He's got his own podcast. They're great. And he writes essays that show biblical principles about different things of fandom. So anyway, so we've had this small group going for a year and a half now, and 2 people met, fell in love in my group.
Oh, sweet.
And I got to be part of a wedding yesterday.
Yes, you did. That's so sweet
fantastic.
and exciting.
I had to buy a suit. I've never
You
worn a
looked
suit
dope
in
in
my
that
life.
suit, though, Dad.
Never
False.
had a suit in my life. No,
You've worn a suit jacket before.
I've worn a suit jacket. That's different than a suit.
Oh, so you went and bought. Aw, little tear down my face.
Bought a suit. That's you go.
Sweet, Daddy-o.
I know. There you go. That's my nerd news.
Nerd news.
Hannah Jo.
Yes.
What are you binging?
Suits.
Oh, that's funny. I bought one.
You did. I'm enjoying
I bet you
it.
the suits they wear cost more than the suits.
Oh no, the whole thing. It's like
JCPenney's.
it's JCPenney's. Yeah. So they spend
took 10 minutes. They were only open for 10 minutes. We ran in there in 10 minutes and bought a suit.
They spend so much money on their suits in this show. That's part of the joke. But just started season 2. Yeah, because this one kid is like a genius, but has never and passed the bar, but never went to college to become an attorney.
Gotcha.
Just is so smart that he memorized everything and
okay, I get you.
passed the bar. And so his mentor is this bougie guy, and he's like, you need a better suit. And that's a thing over and over again, as about the suits that these 2 men wear and how they're different. But they introduced a big bad.
Oh yeah.
A new season 2, episode 1. We got a new bad guy who's popping up on the scene. Interested to see how that goes. I don't much care for when you get into the second season of something that they introduce a bad guy. Like, I feel like that happens a lot.
Well, you never know how it's going to play out. They may
And I
introduce
just,
someone as a bad guy, and they may not be a bad guy by before the end of it.
I just don't like it. Like,
I
they did
know.
that in House, and I just stopped watching it. And they did it in Scrubs, and I stopped watching it. And it just is,
Do you
ugh.
think you'll stop watching this?
I hope not. I'm enjoying it. So I hope that I continue to watch it. I
Well,
also
good.
watched Chronicles of Narnia, the
Like the
first
movie?
one. Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me tell you something that I forgot to
Okay.
mention last week
I'm stopping.
about Chronicles of Narnia.
Yes.
So I know you're not watching Falcon and Winter Soldier,
I'm not. I want
but
to, but I'm going to wait till they're all there.
okay, well there is an episode where they're trying to get information, but they can't get information from these people because they don't trust them.
Hmm.
So Zemo pulls out some type of candy to lure these children to give him the information. You want to guess what kind of candy it is?
It's Turkish Delight.
It's Turkish Delight.
That's bonkers.
I was like, wait a minute.
Chronicles of Narnia!
I was like, Turkish Delight.
The Lion,
I
the Witch, and the Wardrobe!
I gotta try this. BTW. What's like the first thing that your parents tell you about strangers? Never take watch.
Don't take candy from strangers,
I
man.
know.
Stranger
Anyway.
danger. So I started watching Chronicles of Narnia. It's on Disney Plus.
Gotcha.
I didn't know
Do they have
that.
all of them on there? Do
They
you
have
know?
all of them on there. All of the
I
three.
loved them. Too
I
bad
mean,
that they just
the third
people
one
stopped
wasn't
liking
great.
It was pretty
Voyage
good.
of the Dawn Treader was weird.
Well, the book is weird.
I mean, that's true.
I
They
mean, you
get
can
they
only-
get trippier and trippier as it goes on. That's a fact.
Exactly. Yeah. But
Silver Chair Man. Ooh, yikes!
I don't think they would have ever done
Yikes on Silver
that.
Chair.
No, and they would have never done a boy and his horse either.
A Horse and His Boy.
Yeah,
That's
Horse
my
and His Boy,
favorite
sorry.
one.
I know.
That's
And they
my
would never
favorite
do
book.
it.
Yeah, it gets trippy, man. And I also started watching Moulin Rouge
Oh, yeah.
with Nicole Kidman and Ewan McGregor.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
hmm
Obi-Wan
His
Kenobi.
voice is so
Which
good.
He just
He's
grew
such a good
he grew
singer.
his beard back for taking on Obi-Wan Kenobi again.
Yeah,
in the
man.
Disney Plus show.
Stoked about it. Okay. Yeah, that's what
Oh,
I've been
man.
watching.
I haven't been watching a lot, honestly. I watched 2 movies this weekend with Nate.
What'd you watch with Bud?
We watched The Fifth Element
Oh,
that has
classic.
my favorite alien of all time, Pablo
giant-
Laguna, in it. I'm doing the dancing thing. If you could see my arms going back and forth, she's a really good singer too. And
my man.
come on, my man,
Come on, my man. Come
with
on.
Chris Tucker. I love him. He goes, hold it. Ain't got no fire. He is so funny.
Come on.
That was my first introduction to him, and then watched him in the Rush Hour movies with Jackie Chan. Chris Tucker was so funny in that movie. And Ian Holm is in that movie. Gary Oldman is in that movie.
There's some famous people in that movie, man.
Nathan goes, how'd they get Gary Oldman to be in this film? I was like, well, this came out a long time ago, so who knows?
Mhm.
And then we
Look,
watched
my eyes.
Young Frankenstein.
Okay. Is that a
The
new
Mel
movie or an
Brooks
old movie?
It's old. The Mel Brooks movie.
there a
with
new
Gene
one?
Wilder. No, I don't. There may be a Frankenstein movie, but this is a comedy. It's rated R. I think it could be PG. I don't know. They insinuate some stuff. They really don't. There's no
It's
nudity.
rated R. It could be
it can't be.
PG.
It-
That's what you just
well,
said.
you know, it was back in the day when they didn't have PG-13. You know what I mean? So it went
Oh.
from PG to R. But they do insinuate some stuff, but I think I don't know. You'd have to check that out. I love it. It's a classic. Some of the jokes are terrible. Some of them are hilarious.
Of course, some
Um,
of the jokes are terrible, but we're here for that, man.
I know. And it's sad because Gene Wilder's no longer living. Gene
Mhm.
Wilder, the guy who played Willy Wonka in The Chocolate Factory. So,
Dad, I can't remember what her name is, but
in
a
what?
famous British actress died this week.
Oh, I don't know who that would be. I
She
just
was
know
on The
Prince Philip
Crown.
died. Oh, well, but see, I watched that for as many times as I told you we watched it, and then I quit watching it. We haven't watched The Crown anymore. So, actually, we haven't watched much TV. Yeah. So, that's all I've been
Rosalind Knight.
What?
Is that who died?
And I got hooked in. I've been listening to Who all over again. Who music left and right, which is why I've got my Quadrophenia album up
No,
in the
not
background.
Rosalind Knight.
So I don't know who that is.
Maybe
So,
I'm lying to you.
well, we're not investigative journalists. I've said that before. We're just two guy folks that love each other and we want to talk about nerd stuff one on one. One on one. So yeah, that's it. I'm not really binging anything. So I wanted to watch that Midnight Gospel that our friend Josh
Mm.
Spencer said, and then I wanted to watch that one that you said. What was the name of that cartoon again?
Bravest Warriors. Bravest
Bravest Warriors.
Warriors.
You said it was late teens.
It's late teens. I went back and rewatched the first episode and said, "Oh no, it
Gotcha.
is not a child's cartoon. It's not like Adult Swim. Like it's not like
I don't watch any of that stuff.
it's nothing like that. Like it's
Gotcha.
not bad. It's just
I don't find that funny.
not for kids."
I get you. Well, a lot of cartoons aren't for kids, but they make it to where kids can watch it. Like SpongeBob.
Yikes, man.
Yeah.
Big yikes
So,
there.
yeah. Anyway,
Dad,
what?
what do you have for us today?
So, my comic books for today, I wanted to touch on four briefly that just ended big story arcs.
Okay.
So, one of them is Seven Secrets that just finished a story arc, and it's written by the same guy who wrote Deceased, Tom Taylor.
Which was dope.
And so, and a trade paperback, which is a collection of all of them, just came out. I'm going to get that, and Hannah and I are going to talk about this next week.
Woo!
And that's from Boom Studios. It's about a kid. It's about a
We
kid
love
who
Boom Studios.
there are seven secrets.
Well,
and if people
don't tell
hold
us.
this-
We're going to talk about it next week.
Okay, my lips are sealed.
Right?
The
Right?
Go-Go's say, "My lips are sealed."
Doesn't matter what they
you
say.
I don't know the
Nothing people say.
Hey,
Our lips
our
are
lips are
sealed.
sealed. Now, you didn't know that for the musical interlude. So yeah.
Right? Is that okay? Can
Yes,
we
that's okay.
put a
Yes,
pin in
but
it?
These are books that I think everyone should read. And
Okay,
Seven
so-
Secrets, I would say, is teen.
If you're listening right now and want a new comic book to read, can they buy this on Amazon?
Yeah.
You can
Get
buy
the
the
first
trade
trade.
paperback of Seven Secrets written by Taylor by Boom Studios and
Follow
read it.
along.
And then we'll talk about it next week if that is something
Yes.
that you're interested in doing.
Another book that just a trade came out because it finished the first arc is Homesick Pilots.
Oh, I want to read that one too.
So we get to see the house walking in this issue. Yes, and there is more out there that we didn't even know. It's not all about this house. These people are basically ghost hunters, and the house is just a preliminary story.
We
So,
have to, Dad.
I know. It's we're gonna read.
We're gonna
it
read
too
that
and
one
talk
too?
about it.
Okay,
Yes,
dope.
absolutely.
Oh, yeet.
So, and this Homesick Pilots
Stoked.
is for high schoolers. When you
Mhm.
say they have some cuss words in it.
They
They don't have
some-
nudity. I mean,
It's just, I mean, we talked about it. So
Right.
I read the first episode and we talked about it on the podcast. I think what we decided is that they talk about some grown up stuff and it's like punky and that the characters in it experience life in a hard way.
gotcha.
So if
Yeah.
that, right?
Right. Yes. So it is I think it does have a mature label on it. I think older high school students would enjoy it. So, one of my favorite comic books is Usagi Yojimbo, which is about the
Bunny.
Ronin rabbit. And the last story arc just came to a conclusion. I believe that middle school kids on up could read these, but they really do touch on some serious issues sometimes.
Wait, so it's finished.
No, just the story arc.
Oh, you said
Yeah,
the
they're
last story arc.
This is the story arc just finished.
Okay. I
And
was
it
like,
deals
oh, no,
with
Dad.
it deals with mythical creatures in ancient Japanese culture.
Cool.
Well, they're not mythical in the comic book; they're real. And the Usagi had been taught by one of them, and he goes back to help them to fulfill a
Prophecy.
bargain or a deal. No, to fulfill he said he would come back and help.
A promise.
A promise,
perhaps.
yeah, fulfill a promise. So,
Like Madame Zeroni.
like Madame Zeroni,
Like
yeah.
you fulfill the
So,
promise with Madame
Yeah.
Zeroni.
and
Usagi
he fights
Yojimbo
with
is
them
better
to
than
defeat these
Yell
evil
Nats.
creatures. It's really interesting because there's a lot of stuff about I think it's Chinese. I said Japanese. I believe it's Chinese culture.
Okay.
So But I love this comic book. I love how it's always written and drawn by the creator, Stan
Which
Sakai. I'm probably
is
pronouncing his
cool.
name wrong. Okay, Thor just came to an end. Not
Okay.
the comic book, but the story arc.
I
With
saw on your Facebook post that
hmm
Loki said something.
yeah. So what happens at the end of this is, and I'm going to be honest, and I was sort of let down with the ending.
Really?
It seemed like it was like building up to something, and then it
And
was
it
just
just,
over. But what happens is, um, Donald Blake, if he wants to live a life of lies, you can be the god of lies. So Loki like chains him to some thing and is going to torture him for all eternity or something like that. It looked terrible, but Thor gives him to Loki. And Loki says, he asks Loki, what are you going to do to him? And he goes, do you want me to lie to you? Pretty much. And then so Loki gets Donald Blake, and that's where it ends. So I got a
that's
feeling
not good. And
Donald Blake's
that's
coming
gonna
back
come
around.
back and bite them in the butt
Yep.
or bottom,
So
excuse
the
me.
comics I really want to talk about,
Yes.
Batman 107.
Okay, what
Um,
is Batman 107? A comic
it's
issue?
just a comic book, the issue Batman. Yeah. So here's what's happened in the Batman after DC Future State.
Mm,
Did I tell you that the Joker gas got released in Arkham Asylum and
yes.
it like killed a bunch of people? They're calling that a day. So
Oh no.
what's happening is they're trying to
Oh
figure out
no.
who's done this and why this Joker gas has been released and who's
Harley
in
Quinn.
charge of all this. Harley Quinn's sort of a good guy. She's trying to be Batman's sidekick, which is funny because she's still hitting people in the heads with baseball bats, and she
Classic, as
doesn't
she should.
quite know how to be. And like she doesn't quite know. And actually, in this issue, she is fighting some guy who calls himself Stabbo because he's stabbing people, but she recognizes him when she was a doctor at Arkham and says, she calls him by name and like, what are you doing? What are you calling you? He goes, I'm calling myself Stabbo. And he's like, have you been taking your medication? And he goes, no, I haven't taken any of my medication. And she's like, so the cops come to get him and they're like going to kill him or whatever. And she's like, no, he's just off his meds. Basically, the doctor in her says he needs his medication and he'll be fine. He won't hurt anybody ever again. And they're like, we're taking him in. I don't care who you are. And she, of course, hits the cop with the head with her bat. So, and then she leaves a note on the back of Stabbo saying, Stabbo here just needs his meds. Signed, Dr. Harley Quinn. And that was
This person just needs this medication once they're on.
yes.
I mean, man, medication management is an important part of any
So
person's treatment if that is
the
something that they
thing
choose.
about it is that we're really seeing flashbacks because Batman is tied up to a chair and being pretty much manipulated to
By
see
who?
things by the Scarecrow.
Ah,
Yeah. So we don't know. Anyway, I like it. I don't like the secondary story, although the art was fantastic. They've got a new character in it called the Ghostmaker, who's supposed to have been a longtime friend of Bruce Wayne. And I don't know, I'm struggling to like him. He feels like I don't know, like a ultimate 90s character where they were all like, shoot 'em up, bang, and everything loud and pow. And but people who collected comic books in the late 90s will understand what I'm saying. Um, Daredevil continues to be one of the best, probably my favorite Marvel comic book right now. Um, Still, Elektra is Daredevil. She is raising or teaching a child whose parents were both killed during these riots and during the night King in Black thing.
so he's still in jail then.
He's still in jail, and he was poisoned.
Oh no.
So he was poisoned, and he realizes he was poisoned. So he goes out to get fresh. He's like in the where all the inmates go to work out outside. You know what I'm talking about? Whatever
Yes.
that place is. And he sits there and he's just like meditating. And all these like this gang of prisoners come towards him. They're going to beat him up. And there's inner dialogue. And he says, I remember what Foggy taught me one time when we were in college, and there was a big, huge drunk guy that wanted to pick a fight with us. And Foggy just started dancing like all the way around. And Foggy goes, you can't punch a dancing guy. He goes, the guy finally got just fed up and was like, you guys are losers, and left. So he said, so he sits there and just perfectly still and meditates. And they're all like, what's he doing? You know, just to bide time for him to try to flush uh, thing out of his system, and
And then he
so
dances. And then he goes, I'm a
yes, no, he
dancing
doesn't dance, but he does get in a
dancing
fight.
man.
He whips them all, and but ends up getting stabbed at the end, so they think Daredevil's dead. So,
Oh
of
no. He's
course,
not.
Daredevil's not dead.
He ain't dead. He
Yeah.
alive.
Um,
We know it.
another Marvel comic book that I really liked this week was called Avengers: Curse of the Man Thing. The Man Thing is
What?
The Man Thing is Marvel's answer to Swamp Thing.
Of course.
So a guy injected himself with super soldier serum that he was trying to recreate, and it backfired, and he blew up and went into the swamp and came out as the Man Thing. But
Lame.
he can only he only acts on instinct, and he guards this interdimensional portal, and if he touches you and you know fear, you burn on fire.
Mm.
So there is a character who is taking the power of the Man Thing to try to rid Earth of the majority of its people so that it can restore a balance, because we don't know how to take care of the Earth. And
Which talked about
yeah,
in the Swamp Thing that we
I
read.
know, I know. So the cool thing about this is it's like an anniversary of the create. It's like the 50th anniversary of the Man Thing's creation.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, so this issue is Avengers: Curse of the Man Thing. The next one is Spider-Man: Curse of the Man Thing,
Oh, so they're
and then
just going through.
the third one is X-Men: Curse of the Man Thing.
That's cool though.
I was really hoping for a Fantastic Four Curse of the Man Thing, but it ain't gonna happen. So
Lame.
yeah, it's I really enjoyed it. So my DC book of the week is Green Lantern. They started
Mm.
it all over with issue 1, and now that they've redone Infinite Frontiers and there's all these multiverses and omniverse. They don't call it multiverse anymore, they call it the omniverse.
Probably because
There's
Marvel
gazillions of
does
them.
multiverse.
Oh, yeah.
So
Well,
I
I
wonder if
don't
that.
think that's a
I mean,
copyright
I don't
thing.
think it's a copyright thing either, but it would make sense that they would want a different word,
Gotcha.
right?
Yeah.
That way the
Hmm.
two fandoms can understand what they're talking
Right.
about easily. I'm
Well,
not saying
now
that's what it was, but that makes sense to me.
I think they're doing it because they're changing. There basically is no multiverse anymore after Infinite DC Future State or Infinite Frontiers.
Hmm.
After Dark Metal, they've now everything is possible and everything happens. You can anything. Basically, it was just a way for DC Comics to say, you know what, we can do whatever we want. A character's dead, not anymore.
I
This
mean, they
character
don't
can't
they do that
fly. They can
anyways?
now. I know, but this is just an easy way to erase the slate and start all
Hmm.
over
I
and do
mean, here
whatever
for
they want.
that.
I know it's had some good stories,
Yeah.
some of them not so good, but
We
this
talked
Green
about that.
Lantern I really liked because they have a teen lantern and who
Ooh.
doesn't have a ring. She has a gauntlet, and they don't know where her power's coming from. They think she has a gauntlet that's similar to a villain, um, and I believe she's Latino.
Cool.
I'd have to, but the comic book is really good. And in this
What's her name?
comic, I don't know, Teen Lantern.
I'm just gonna
But the
Google Teen
funny
Lantern.
thing is, they call her Kid Lantern. They keep calling her Kid Lantern because she's like 11. She's not really a teen, and she keeps saying Teen Lantern. She keeps telling
Me.
them, yeah. So
I'm 11 teen.
I'm 11 teen. I think she's 10. I can't remember.
10
I mean,
teen,
that's
Dad.
young. Think about that, you know. And she was in that. She was in the group Young Justice when I collected those comics, which I really liked. They were fun. So the Green Lanterns are now, they used to be this police of the galaxy, basically, right? But now that the
Hmm.
galaxy is completely different, and now there is a group of planets, like an interplanetary Senate. I tell you what, it looked an awful lot like the splash page that they drew. It looked just like the Galactic Senate with
Hey,
those floaty things on it, with
yeah.
all the people where Jar Jar Binks ruined everything for everybody.
Will you tell us what a screen you said splash page? What does that mean?
Okay, a splash play page in comic books is where you open the page and it's like the entire page or two pages show one giant picture. It's
Okay.
like they call it the splash page. That's what that's called in comic book lingo.
Cool.
Um, Usually, like if they want to, it's like grandiose. Um,
There are some of
and
those, there are quite a few of those in Kingdom Come.
well, uh, yeah, I mean, there are, but I mean, that's like a huge thing. Like the comic, like here is sort of. I'm going to show a picture if you're on YouTube or you're on Facebook. Um,
Order! It
and it
does. It looks
shows,
exactly like the Galactic
yeah.
Senate.
So it's like a
That's
huge
hysterical.
picture. They had a great one in the Nightwing comic book of him jumping off of a roof, and it was just fantastic. It's
Dope.
just a great painting or drawing that conveys the story, and it takes up a large chunk of the page.
Cool.
So anyway, at the end of this, one of the guardians, they're the little blue guys that are like the ones who would give out ring. They were like the guardians of the battery. Gets killed, gets shot, or murdered. So
That's not good. That's the
I know,
opposite
but
of
I
good.
can't. And it's the opposite of good. But it's interesting because I think what's happening is the we're going to find out that the guardians uh, did something that made like stole magic to make the rings work or something. So I think
That's
there's going
not
to
good
be a
either.
magic first versus the rings. So we'll see what
Yikes.
happens. Yeah. All right. So my book of the week
Book of the week.
is uncomfortable. It's not called uncomfortable, but it's uncomfortable to read. So
Okay.
first of all, Green
Is it the
Lantern,
one of the other
Green
mystery
Lantern
of the
kids could
DC
read.
universe?
Avengers, these are like middle school, all these on up. Daredevil's a little bit more mature. Batman, I
Mm.
think, is more mature, but Green Lantern and Avengers, Curse of the Man thing. Green Lantern, but Home is an adult comic book.
Home, it's called.
It's called Home by Image.
Oh,
It
of
I'm
course, it's by
I'm gonna
Image or Boom
butcher these
Studios.
people's names, and it is not on purpose. It's by Julio Anna Wesnick, Brian Valenza, and Hassan Atsami Allahu. I know I'm ruining it, but okay. So I don't want to get political. There you go. We're not going to be political. I'm just going to talk about this as a comic book. Okay.
Okay.
This follows a Guatemalan refugee, mother
Mm.
and son, who flee Guatemala because the gangs, I have to go back and reread it, but they are trying to get her son. And I think they've already killed her husband. So they
Oh,
flee
yikes.
Guatemala, travel through Mexico, and end up at the US border, try to enter legally. So they enter legally seeking asylum.
Hmm.
But I don't know if you remember, there was a thing where they said, and I literally had to go back and make sure this was true. There was a letter in it from the attorney general that basically says, if you come to the United States without papers or documentation, we're separating children from parents.
Yes.
So that really happened and may be happening. I don't know. So
I think it's currently happening still.
I I don't know. So anyway, so this happens. She has a sister that lives in Houston.
Hmm.
They try to enter legally seeking asylum from the gangs. And they
It's
put them
easier
in a
to come into the country if there's a family member that you already have that's in the country.
gotcha. Well, they have to do the processing, whatever processing means. And they put them in this place called the ice box, which is they call it that because it's really cold. It looks like a
Mhm.
pin, basically. And then that's when she finds out that they're separating mothers from their children. She asks, "Can I just go back to Mexico?" And they're no, you can't. Once you've started processing, you can't leave until processing. So they separate them.
Mm.
So the boy is like 8, maybe 6, 7, 8 or 9, I don't know. So they separate them, and it's a real struggle to watch this happen.
Mm.
So they send this boy away from the mother, and they're like, it's hard to tell how far they travel, but it's like 4 hours. I don't know. They can't. He doesn't really know because
Mm.
he doesn't know where he is, and he's in a place with other boys.
Mm.
And as this is going on, he gets nervous and his hands start to glow just a little bit, and he hides it. He's like, no, 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 no,
Oh
no.
no.
So what happens when he's at this place with the boys is he takes an apple and takes it back to their holding cell, which looks like a pin. And they see him with an apple, and the guard just goes psycho. Well, the boy has superpowers,
Yep.
and he like blows a hole through the thing and escapes. And that's where issue 1 ends. This is a hard book to swallow and a must read. It's really good. I don't care what you believe, what you think is happening or not happening. I don't care. You can go and see what was written. You know, that's fine. But as a comic book, that is a very very good story, and it's heart wrenching for reality's sake,
Mm.
basically.
It
So
is happening still.
okay, gotcha. So yeah, but they didn't expect for this kid to have superpowers.
Hmm.
So now
Poor
he is
little
on the
kid.
run with superpowers, and I'm really, I'm vested. I'm invested. I'm gonna
And
read
is
this till it
8 years
ends.
old and is in a new place all by himself and maybe doesn't even speak the language.
He
And
doesn't. They speak Spanish. They don't speak any English at all.
ugh.
And they do a really good way of showing that when they show English. It's in a different color font and
Hmm.
with a different bubble. And when they speak Spanish, it's in another color font with a different color bubble around it.
Hmm.
So, I'm sorry, I just hit my microphone. So, and there's a letter from the creators in the back talking about.
What does it talk about?
It talks about Latino issues for
Mm.
immigrant issues and stuff like that. So
I love when comic books do stuff like that. We talked about
so
that when we first started doing this. One of the first things that we read was Adventure Man.
yes.
And they do
Mhm.
they do that still in Adventure? We haven't talked about Adventure Man in
Well,
a
Adventure
minute.
Man hasn't come out with a new issue yet, so there you could read all of them. They're collected right now, and I've been waiting and waiting because it was one of my
They're in a
favorite
trade
books.
right now.
I believe so. We have to check it out. But yeah, a friend of mine, well, Hector actually, and
Mm.
I were talking on Facebook about, um, last week we talked about DC's History of the Other Universe, where they talked about
Mm-hmm.
internment and the treatment of Asians in comic book culture, and
And in
how
America.
in America, how it touched on that, and how it talked about internment, which I was never taught in high school. We talked
Mm-hmm.
about that, and he talked about, and I also talked about how the Watchmen series, um, taught me about Tulsa, the
The
Tulsa.
Tulsa riots.
It's not a riot.
Yeah, not.
It was
But
not a riot.
that's what it's called.
That's what it's called. It was a racial cleansing, is what it was.
Hmm.
And this. So I mean, this is a very comic books. If anybody thinks that comic books and anime and Doctor Who and Star Trek
Goodness,
are
Doctor Who, watch out.
just for a bunch of nerds and dweebs that don't have anything because it's a waste of time. No, they have things to say.
Star Trek is
And
notorious about saying things.
yeah,
And like
the
when
first interracial kiss on TV.
when Star Trek when they were about to do something that they knew were going to make people angry, they would like shorten the length of someone's skirt or something like that. That way they wouldn't the censors wouldn't focus on what they were saying, but costuming, and would be like, you need to get her changed.
Yeah. Oh,
Like
really? That's funny.
she can't. So they were very sneaky about the stuff that they did in
So
that.
my book of the week is Home.
Home by
But
Image
if
Comics.
if you want a book for that, that I think I would pick Green Lantern. That's not as hard. It's more of a fun read.
Mm. We
That
can do hard things though, Dad.
absolutely. Yeah, Home by Image.
Awesome.
I'm gonna follow it. There you go.
That's
That's
really
it.
cool.
I know that was a little rough. How about we talk about something that's just straight up crazy talk? So we watched the movie that came out on Netflix just a couple weeks ago, maybe a week ago,
Uh,
I don't know, called Thunder Force,
y'all.
starring Melissa McCarthy and Octavia Spencer. And
Bonkers.
uh, Hannah, do you want to give the lowdown on what the movie was about?
Yeah, so it's these two people that are BFFs. Um, Dad, I don't even remember their names.
Oh, I don't
Do you
remember
remember
their
the
names
characters'
either.
names?
No, not at all. I just know they're childhood friends.
Yeah, I know, but what are their names? We
Um,
don't even.
Lydia and Emily and Lydia. Yeah, Lydia was Melissa McCarthy's character, and Octavia
Okay,
Spencer was
Emily. So
yeah.
something happens to Earth, and a lot of radiation happens, and it gives people powers.
But it seems like the only people that got powers were bad people,
The only people
psychopath or
based
sociopaths.
sociopaths, which is not
Wait a minute.
a clinical term.
Does that mean that Sherlock Holmes? would have gotten superpowers?
It's not a clinical term, and it's not something people are diagnosed with in the
What does it
current
mean?
iteration of the DSM. It was.
Okay,
It's
gotcha.
just people just say it to mean that they just have lack
People are.
poor people
I
skills
gotcha. Go
and don't
ahead
know
anyway.
what to do
So
and
what
don't.
happens is bad people get superpowers and nobody else does.
Bad people.
Yeah.
I didn't know what this is an auditory medium. I did finger quotes for bad people.
Anyway, so whatever.
Oh, that made me
It
angry.
seems
That
like
part I was like, ugh, this is
it
dumb.
seems like the only people that got powers were villains. I didn't
Yeah,
see anybody
that's
else.
basically it. They were like, "Hey, we got superpowers. We got superheroes, but we don't got superheroes because the only people that have powers are villains.
Yes. So Octavia Spencer is super smart,
They're
and we
called
get to
miscreants."
yes, we get to see her and Melissa McCarthy grow up, which I thought was
Mhm.
really cute.
It was really cute. They were
I love that.
BFFs.
I would have liked to seen even more of that.
That
The
was
she
really
goes
funny.
when Octavia Spencer's character goes, both of my mom and dad were geneticists, and Melissa McCarthy, the little girl, says, "You mean they were lady doctor parts, lady parts doctors or whatever?" It's
That
like
was
this is
hysterical.
PG-13,
Hmm.
by the way, PG
I mean,
13,
it's Melissa McCarthy.
right?
Like we
Yeah.
like, of course, it's at least PG-13.
So what happens is Emily, Octavia Spencer, is super smart and
Hmm.
creates serum, a genetic serum that allows that gives superpowers.
Hmm.
And Melissa McCarthy, Lydia, accidentally takes Octavia's
Gets the
one of her
injections.
superpowers, gets the injections
Gets
on
the
accident.
injections and on accident because
Yes.
she was intoxicated and touched
She
something.
wasn't really I don't think she was intoxicated. I think she was just touching things. They said don't touch anything, and she started
And
touching
she's just like,
things.
yeah, let me touch this, this, and this, and this,
What
and
does
this,
this
and
do? What does
this.
this do? Yeah.
And
So
yeah, so
then she gets superpowers. Octavia gets superpowers, and then it all has to do about the bad guy, the one villain who is wanting to become mayor
laser.
of.
But you don't know. It's the king.
You don't know the king, but you
You don't
really
know that
do.
he's a bad dude, but he's a bad dude.
It shows he's a bad dude pretty fast.
Yeah,
At least
pretty
halfway
fast.
through the movie.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait to the end.
No.
Yeah. So then he wants to become mayor.
So
He
that he
doesn't
can
get
become
mayor.
no. And then he gets really
So
mad and then there's a
he wants
crab
to blow up.
guy and
He
then
wants to blow up
uh the
what
Mantis. The actress who plays Mantis
is a
is
villainess
Laser.
in this, and I think she was terrible in this movie.
Oh, she was fantastic.
What?
Her character was just trash.
I know. Well, maybe that's good because if she was trying to be trash, I think she made it.
I mean, it was just funny.
My favorite character was Jason Bateman as the crab guy. So Jason Bateman
Oh
is
man, that was the
he's
worst.
no a half creant. Isn't that what he is?
Yes. And
He
he's
wasn't
not
full.
he wasn't he got bitten by a
Okay,
radioactive
wait.
crab
Yeah, where you
while
shouldn't get
scuba
bitten
diving with his
without clothing.
wife,
Yes,
but on their honeymoon. And then
on
he
their
was like,
honeymoon.
"She's not my wife."
Right.
And he's
Okay,
got
so wait a
crab
minute.
arms.
His acting was the best.
Oh, of course. Yeah, of course. It's Jason Bateman.
So he just had crab arms. That's all he had. The best thing about him, did you notice this, Hannah? Every time he left or fled, he went
Mm.
sideways like a crab. He
He did
walked
not.
sideways every time.
That's
It was
hysterical.
so funny.
I
I love
missed it.
Jason Bateman. Him. I'm not really bad. I'm not really sure how this is going to go. I'm just, he's a good guy. He was a good, he ends up being sort of good. So what'd you think of this movie, Hannah?
It was funny.
In parts, it was belly laugh funny.
In parts, it was straight hysterical. Other parts, it was just, ugh,
Yeah, it
cringe.
was like, yeah, well, I don't know if it was cringe as much as it was like, I hate to say this, but I didn't think Octavia Spencer was that great in it.
Her
Her daughter
her daughter was dope.
was really good. I thought
She
her
was
daughter
phenomenal.
was phenomenal. And I don't even know who that actress is. Her name's Taylor Mosby, and I'd never seen her in anything. Um, I don't know, what she's been in, but I thought she was my best favorite part of the whole thing. So, yeah, I don't know. She's probably been in a lot of stuff, but I
She
don't
was
know
in
what it would
Criminal
be.
Minds. She was in Grey's Anatomy for an episode. She was in Criminal Minds.
The villain who plays the king is the stepdad in The Wasp.
Yes.
and Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
Carnot Carival, Bobby
his
Cannavale, or
eyeballs go red. He's
yes.
spooky. We are not selling this movie pretty well, Dad.
Well, I wouldn't say
I
this is a
enjoyed
great
it.
movie. This
I
isn't
mean,
a great movie.
I
This
like
is not a
laugh.
movie to sit down and watch with the family. First of all, you can't watch it with the family because Melissa McCarthy does say some things that are inappropriate. Um, as this is a movie that I don't got nothing to do. Let burn some time. We put it on and we watch it.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. I'm sure they could make many more of these, but there's no way they will because
It
it
didn't do
just
well.
wasn't. No.
It's
Um,
got like a 24% on Rotten Tomatoes last time I looked.
there you go. Right. The Melissa
But
McCarthy
y'all,
gets
I
super
like.
strength. Octavia Spencer can become invisible, and I'm not going to tell you about anything else because if you
Hmm.
do watch it, I don't want to give it away.
Yep.
But um, I it has a textbook ending,
Hmm.
so it's
Here
pretty
for it though,
much
man. I love a happy ending. Here for
yeah
a happy ending.
yeah. The only thing is that Melissa McCarthy wants to throw a bus. I want to throw a bus.
I would want to
Throwing
throw a bus. Are you kidding me? If I got
Yeah.
super strength, I'd want to throw a bus.
I love the part where she keeps talking when she thinks no one's listening, but that's like happened twice in the movie. Like she talks about not Kenny from down in wherever. He's terrible. He smells like or whatever. And he's like, and then she's like, Octavia Spencer's
I'll call
character
you
goes,
back, Kenny.
"Hold on, Kenny. I'll call you back." She was, "Oh, wait, just kidding, Kenny." He was on speakerphone. You can tell where Melissa McCarthy just ad libbed,
Oh
but
yeah.
tried to ad lib PG-13 or
Mm-hmm.
PG. I'm sure they said, "Listen, we got to make this
You
where
gotta
it's
you gotta tone
from
this down,
kids.
girlfriend.
You got to tone it down." And yeah, parts of it are funny. Watching them try to get in and out of the
Lamborghini.
Lamborghini, yeah,
Yikes.
but it's just sight gags. Yeah.
Yeah,
As
some of the
far as
gags were just like really silly. Like Melissa McCarthy gets like these injections into her like face,
yeah, and then
and
into other
Octavia
parts of her
Spencer
body,
just takes a
has to
pill
take a
with a
pill,
glass of water.
and she's like, "This is a large pill." She goes, "This is
Like
really a
some of
large
it's just
pill."
kind of like, okay, yeah.
I get it. And then I think I pulled my groin. Do women have a groin?
Oh
Yeah,
man.
that was funny. Just her physical comedy was funny.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for Jason Bateman as the crab guy, I
Bad.
probably wouldn't have enjoyed the movie. But his character is so good. That part I loved that.
And
Anyway,
Melissa McCarthy just eats raw chicken.
yes, because she has to eat raw chicken. That's
She
gross.
just eats raw chicken. And the whole entire time I was like, I wonder what she's actually eating.
I know. I thought, what was that? That
I'm
looks
like,
like
what prop food is she eating right
I
now?
don't know because it look. I bet you it was
Because I
jello.
really wanted to know.
No, because it had some substance to it.
It
It's
was
like
gross. It
I
was.
don't know what it was.
It looked
So
like raw
anyway,
chicken.
you guys, we watch some movies so
Ugh.
you don't have to.
Don't watch
And
it.
this is one of these. I would give it one school bus.
Yeah, it was not good.
She throws a bus. She does.
I'd give it a dilapidated school bus stuck in a fountain.
That's about it. Yeah. Yeah. There
So
you
not
go.
even one full school bus.
Not even one. Well, a bus.
It's not a school bus.
This school bus is busted.
It's
Yeah.
not even a school bus. It's a transportation, like a public transit bus.
Well, that would be. Is that more valuable?
I don't know the answer.
I would give it one of those pedal taverns. That's about it.
You'd give it a pedal tavern.
Well, I mean, it's not worthy of a school bus.
LOL.
It's just senseless. If you want to watch it, fine. But I would suggest
Perhaps
skip
not.
it. Skip
Perhaps
it.
not. Perhaps.
it.
If you're gonna watch,
This is like the first movie we've ever said skip it.
if you're gonna watch a movie with superheroes that's like not like a superhero movie, watch Flora and Ulysses.
And we talked about that. Or Sky High.
Have we talked about Sky High?
Yes, and that had a school bus
That did
and
have a
Ron
school
Wilson,
bus.
bus
Bus
driver.
driver.
We already talked about that.
Okay.
So yeah, there you go, guys. I would skip it.
Skip it.
Sorry. I mean, parts of it were funny, but Octavia Spencer, I think she's probably going, "Why did I do this?" But yeah. Anyway, bright parts. Jason Bateman and her daughter. They were good.
Fact.
Yeah. There you go. We done.
The grandma.
Oh, the grandma was hilarious.
Grandma was hilarious.
That
Hysterical.
part was funny.
That was funny.
Yeah,
That part
Octavia
was
Spencer's
actually
grandmother
funny.
was funny. Yeah, but she's in there for like 30 seconds. So
Yeah.
that little bit, it's just like a gag. which
Yeah.
was funny. I got
Yeah,
Michelle Obama arms.
there were some
And
good
she goes, I
gags.
got Michelle Obama arms.
There were some good gags, but the majority of them were not.
Yeah, that's all right. Okay. I think we've lingered on this long
We
enough.
have. I'm done. Moving on.
We're done. Moving on to,
Deceased.
okay, so this was like, did I say this was like my favorite comic book series or mini series of, or one of them of last
Yeah.
year? And I don't want to get it confused with Wonder Woman Dead Earth, which I loved, but Deceased is like a universe that's outside of traditional DC continuity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so what happened was Tom Taylor, the creator, has done Deceased. He
Mm-hmm.
then did a one shot called Deceased, A Good Time to Die. Is that what it's called?
It says issue 1.
It's the only one. A Good Day to Die.
Are they not coming out with another?
No, that's just a one shot. Okay. And then he did Deceased Unkillables, which I think was a 3-issue miniseries.
Okay.
And then he just finished off with Deceased Dead Planet, which was a 7-issue series. So this one that Hannah and I read is the first Deceased comic book,
The first 6.
the first 6. And then we
Plus
also
the
read the
one-shot.
one shot. And it's amazing.
It's bonkers in like a good way.
So give the plot, Hannah.
So-
You're really good with giving plots.
Thank you.
Especially coming from somebody who doesn't read comics.
I don't. So we enter the story at the end of another story where they
Correct.
have one against Darkseid.
Yes.
And-
We keep talking Darkseid. He keeps coming back.
Well, you wanted to read this because we talked about the anti-life equation when we did Justice League,
That's exactly right.
which is why
That's
we
exactly
read
right.
this.
Correct. And the
So-
anti-life equation is in this.
Mm-hmm. So we start the story there. They send Darkseid back, and Cyborg is lost.
Which is funny because
Batman-
they think they've beaten.
They think they've beaten
Darkseid.
Darkseid, but Darkseid actually
'cause-
got what he wanted because he wanted the anti-life equation, and so he took the anti-life equation back to his home planet, and then but they couldn't get the anti-life equation to work the way that they wanted it to work, and so Darkseid like called death to himself
Right.
and tore a piece of death and entered it into the anti-life equation.
Which was inside Cyborg.
Cyborg had the anti-life equation in his hardware
Part of it.
or
Part
something.
of it. Part of the anti-life equation.
Mhm.
Yes, something like that.
And Cyborg knows, like, hey, don't do this, because if you do this, it's not going to have the effect that you want
Right.
it to have.
Right.
And is like saying, don't do this, don't do this. And you think that that they create like zombies, but they don't create zombies because zombies, like when you think like there's like a couple, like I like zombie films. I'm here for
Gotcha.
a zombie film.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like 2 major camps of zombies.
Gotcha.
From what I can
Explain
think.
that. Okay.
So there's like a camp of zombies where it's like, I just have to eat brains, and they're just
Right.
going, and they're just like not human, can't think, are just like,
Gotcha.
like eat brains.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another one where they like are a little bit faster or a little bit like can think a little bit more.
like World War Z,
Yeah.
where they act like ants, basically.
Where they're like a hive,
right. Mm-hmm.
if you will.
Gotcha.
This is a zombie in that they are not human, but not like I want to eat brains. More
just
of
wanna
like
kill.
I just don't want anyone else to be alive.
Exactly. Right.
But they can still speak.
Can they?
At the very
Until it
end,
takes over.
Wonder Woman
yes.
speaks, and she
Yes,
speaks
yes,
to the
yes, yes.
collective whole. Like
Yes,
she
I
says
remember that.
she uses we language.
Yes.
And so-
Gotcha.
So Cyborg like knows that this is what's going to happen. Darkseid does it anyways, and Darkseid blows up his own planet because he
And
gets
sends
infected.
Cyborg back to Earth.
And Cyborg gets to Earth, and
With the-
because it's an
with the
equation, it's inside of him. And Cyborg is, if you've watched Justice League, is connected to like is in control of like every type of internet.
He can get into
anything,
the internet
any
and
place,
Right.
and
Before-
infects the
Before he can
internet.
wall it. Before he can wall it off.
It
with
already
like a
filters.
firewall.
Yeah. And so the anti-life equation, again, because it's an equation, goes into the internet, and any person who looks at a screen becomes like infected
Right.
with this. And so you can
With
get
the
it from
anti-life.
technology, but you can also transmit through other people.
Yes. Like if you're watching TV, like on the computer or a cell phone or whatever.
And so it's our superhero, it's the like Justice League. Like you think of like the main superheroes, like when we talked about like Kingdom Come and stuff like
Right.
that. Like you think of Justice League, you think of Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. They're like, again, it's not like the same universe. So like Batman has a son, and
No, no, no. Batman has a son in this
really
universe.
IRL?
Yeah.
No, like in real life.
Damian Wayne is his
Yeah.
son.
So Batman
Yes.
has a son, and
Ra's
Lois
al
and
Ghul's
Clark.
daughter, and he had a son. This is news to
Really
Hannah. Yeah, Talia al
weird.
Ghul, and Damien is their
Ugh.
son. He is Robin now, actually. Mm-hmm.
So it's them, and I mean, like, of course, this was something that I think that you've mentioned before, Dad, is
What?
that like Batman is like a genius and like has all of these different things figured out and like all of this
Right.
stuff, and like made like the fastest people in the world like stop, like
Yes, he could.
hid Flash, and is
Right.
it Reverse Flash,
Whatever. Yeah.
the one who
No,
wears yellow?
no, no, no. That's a Kid Flash.
Okay. Had those two hide because like we don't need you to
Here's
get
the deal:
infected because
if
then
they
you'll
get
infect
infected,
everyone.
or Superman gets infected, or Wonder Woman gets
We're
infected, or the
dead.
Flash gets infected, they can infect everyone in no
The
time
earth
at
is
all.
gone.
Yeah.
And so it's like, ooh, this is, yeah. So it's them trying to figure out how to protect as much people as possible,
Right.
and all of the shenanigans that then ensue from this
Right.
zombie
Here's
person.
the go. This has been out forever. We can just tell whatever we want. Everybody,
Okay,
first
dope.
of all, you should read this.
It's
I
so
love
good.
I love the thing that at the beginning, after Darkseid's like, Wonder Woman wraps the lasso of truth, and he's like, I don't need to lie. I got exactly what I came from. And then the boom tube comes, he disappears, and then Batman automatically goes, um, Cyborg's not
Cyborg
here.
is missing.
Cyborg is missing. And they're like, what? How do you know? And he goes, I have a tracker. Do you have a tracker running in one of his subroutines? And they go, do you have a tracker on all of us? And
Dot dot dot.
and dot
No.
dot dot. No. And it's so funny because
Flash
Green
is like,
Arrow.
are
Did
we
you
gonna
like
believe
that
him?
part where Green Arrow, where he's like, he doesn't have a tracker on Green Arrow. He's like the only one, and he's like, I could be
He's like,
a
he's like, did
planetary
you?
threat.
He's like, did you just see? Like, and like later in the comics, he's like, did you like? Yeah, he didn't think I was a planetary threat. I just shot an arrow through that guy's head when he's on top of a kraken. Like, I could, like, I'm totally a planetary threat. And I'm
Yes,
like,
he's
chill
like, so
out, man.
I love it. So what happens is basically
Everybody gets
the
infected.
what the Martian Manhunter. You don't think about him, but the Martian Manhunter who can become invisible. They all of the superheroes are uninfected meet at Superman's Fortress of Solitude, and the Martian Manhunter's there, and he infects the
Everybody.
Flash. Yeah,
And
but the
once the
Flash
Flash
was the
is in,
one.
the Flash was the
Right.
one that they needed not to get infected because
So
he goes wild crazy and it's like running really fast. And then Superman
stops him.
stops him literally by like running through him,
Yes, or
like zooming
yes.
through him. But
And then what
then
happens is a part of the Flash cuts Superman, and Superman turns, and then Wonder Woman turns, and what happens is the heroes create arcs sort of to save people, and a subplot in all of this is
Harley
Poison
Quinn
Ivy and Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn are BF. They're in love.
Yes,
This is
and
something that
they-
I thought was really interesting. Is
What?
she, Poison Ivy talks a lot about the green,
yes, oh
and
yeah,
that's what Swamp Thing calls.
mm-hmm.
And so I just like wouldn't have connected that in my head if we had not read
And
Swamp
she
Thing.
creates an impenetrable wall, a town around Gotham that is open to anyone, but you're not allowed to harm the green.
But if you harm the green, you're kicked.
You're kicked out. Yes.
And
So-
and Damian Wayne is like, we will agree to anything at this point.
Yeah, Damian Wayne's like, the cool part is basically what happens is Damian Wayne, you'll find this out in the next, they come back to Earth.
And
Because
are
they
they?
do- they do
But
flee.
Superman blows up the sun.
He doesn't blow up the sun. He goes into the sun.
Oh, I thought he blew up
So
the sun.
yeah,
Oh,
no, he doesn't blow up the sun, but there's
I know
something
it.
about the sun. Yeah. So
It's weird
um,
now. We got a weird sun.
but yeah, the funny thing is, and it comes around in one of the issues that the Green Lanterns are
Watching
protecting.
them.
Yeah, watching
And
them.
that's what makes Superman, because Superman was going to go get them.
Hmm.
And
But he drives into
and
it.
his son, Superman's son, goes out and to like fight him.
Yeah,
It goes out into space and is like, "You can't do this, Dad." And then
right.
his arms in a sling.
But here's the deal: if the, you know how like we try to combat viruses,
Mm-hmm.
we recreate the virus,
Mm-hmm.
and then we go back and we reverse engineer and destroy the virus.
Yes,
So in the last run,
I'm pulling it up.
we have to go because
They got to go
we
get
come
Cyborg.
exactly. Although at the end of Deceased, she pretty much rips Cyborg apart,
Literally pulls his head off.
but he
The
ain't
cure is
dead.
in you.
Yes, the
You are
cure is
man and
inside.
machine. You are binary, off and on, patient zero and the one, the alpha
He is
and the
patient
omega.
zero. Yeah,
But that means everyone we fought, everyone we ended, they didn't have to die.
they
Everything
didn't have
dies.
to die. They didn't have to die. Yeah.
Everything dies. Life is fleeting. That's the only truth. Death is forever.
The
And
good
that's
thing is
Wonder
they,
Woman talking.
I
Like,
know,
look
because
at.
she's
Ooh, I'm
she's
not going to show
yeah.
that one because that's creepy.
Um, yeah,
Look at her.
Wonder Woman.
Look at her
That
eyeballs.
she's a zombie.
Spooky.
She's a
So
anti-life zombie.
spooky. But it's not a
So
zombie.
right. So the next issue that Hannah read, because what happens at the end of this is basically two
They
ships,
show
three
up to Earth
ships,
2.
they flee and they create a new Earth. And
They're at Earth 2.
Superman's son becomes Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Damian Wayne becomes Batman,
Mm-hmm.
and Wonder Girl becomes Wonder Woman. We have now
And
the new
we have a new Green
and
Lantern.
green, yes, Dinah Shore from, you remember her from Birds of Prey, right? Dinah
Oh,
Lance, not Dinah Shore. Dinah Shore is
yeah.
a singer. Dinah Lance, also known as Black Canary,
Yeah.
who Green Arrow is always in love with, becomes Green Lantern.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so Green Lantern and Green Arrow both live, which is cool. I like their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it ends. They're out in space, and the one shot.
This was weird.
Okay,
I didn't
so I
understand
had
any
Hannah
of the
read
people. I'd had no
because
no
you
idea
didn't
what
know
was
any of the
happening.
people, did
Like all
you?
of these people are like, and I'm this. We should go get the Justice League, and they're like, oh, those pretentious tools. No,
Yes.
like all these things. I'm like,
Deceased, A Good Day to Die,
what?
stars Big Barda and Mr. Miracle, which I love, and they're both from Apocalypse, which is, remember we talked about this. They were both raised by Granny Goodness in the Dark Seeds, Dark
Yes.
Side. I did it again. So they were both from Apocalypse. So Big Barda is huge. Scott Free is like Mr. Miracle is the master of escaping,
Mm.
and they're trying to save the world. So
Mm-hmm.
they go and get John Constantine, which
Which
is a
is a
magician.
magician.
Like if we can't save it like this, we're gonna have to save it with magic.
And I was getting very much Doctor Strange vibes from him.
Oh no, he cusses up a storm. He is a rated R
No,
Doctor Strange.
like his like
Yeah.
powers. I'm doing weird stuff with my
If it
hands.
we talked about it, if it makes any sense, he appeared in Saga of the Swamp Thing. That's where he first appeared. So you can know how
Weird.
kooky that was. He also has like an on again, off again relationship with Zatanna, which
Okay.
is yeah.
Fair. He like, yeah, I was like flipping through it and it was like a pocket dimension only accessible to a certain level of wizard
Mm-hmm.
or like magic user. And he's like sipping like in there having a whiskey,
Yes. Yeah, that's
like
where they
hiding
go.
from his problems, man.
Hiding from his problems.
This ain't the way. Yeah, because they were going to a time machine to make the time machine go back
Right.
to like make
So,
sure that this never happened. But then
did you
there was
like-
this guy that was there was like, you shall not pass.
You're
I'm
not
the
allowed to-
interdimension. I'm the Time Lord or whatever. I don't know.
Wave Rider. Yeah. Yeah. So they had Booster Gold and Blue Beetle, who were best friends. And Booster Gold had a time machine. So they were going to use the time machine to go back in time to change it, but they couldn't do it because the Wave Rider wouldn't let them. But then John Constantine uses magic and escapes while everyone else dies.
Perishes. Question mark?
Do they?
I mean, it's a one shot. We don't know.
Yes, we do, because they do something else happens. They have deceased dead planet. So John Constantine is a huge part in solving everything.
Interesting.
They basically use magic, and they also use
Technology.
cyborg technology. But
Dope.
he goes and gets this chimp, Detective Chimp. He's a character. He's a monkey that's a detective. He's the world's greatest detective
Detective Chimp.
to find a person
Daddy.
that John Constantine needs. This is in DC's Dead Planet.
Oh
And guess
no.
who he goes to find?
Who?
Mr. Miracle. Scott Free's not dead. He's alive because he always escapes. He's the greatest escape
He's the
artist.
greatest escape artist.
But he doesn't want to do anything because Barda's dead. Not Barda's not dead.
Aw.
Barda is zombified. So his deal is like, I will help you, but if we create a cure,
She gets
we
it
test
first.
it on her. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I'd want it to be tested on me.
Well, listen, I
I
love
would.
Mr. Miracle and Big Barda because they have the greatest relationship. And the cool thing about that one shot that you read is that, did you see the part where he offers them a veggie tray? So, Tom King, a real good writer who's writing the Batman Catwoman comic book that we talked about, he wrote a Mr. Miracle miniseries about him and Big Barda. And every time someone would come to their house, like he was brought on trial, and they're there in their house sitting on a couch. Big Barda's like so much taller than everybody else, and they're sitting getting ready for this trial to happen. And Scott Free walks out with a vegetable tray, and that's everything. So they continually, like
Oh
three or
my
four times
goodness.
in that comic book, they talk about a veggie tray, and they just throw it in there just for those comic book characters. So did you like it, Hannah?
I did. I really enjoyed reading it. I thought it was very funny.
I think you would
Parts of it were
enjoy it.
very sad.
Right. The good thing is it has a good ending,
Hmm.
but you have to get through a couple, you know,
You
couple
know?
more issues. A couple. They do DC Unkillables, which focuses on a lot of villains and how these villains try to save these kids.
Yes, I think we had talked about that.
We talked about that, and then after that, the DC's Dead Planet is when they come back to Earth to try to get
Awesome.
the equation out of. Yeah,
Cyborg.
there you go. I'm glad
It
you
was fun.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a fun read.
It's one of my
I
favorites. And if
did.
you like zombies and DC, you should definitely read this. And
You
it's
should
by
check it
Tom
out.
Taylor, the guy who did Seven Secrets and
Which we're
is
gonna read
currently
later,
doing the
Gator.
new Nightwing comic book.
Dope.
So, yeah. So that's all I
Cool beans
got.
all around. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was fun.
End roll.
We Yes. Okay, so our cover art is made by Nathan Turner. Thanks so much for doing that, bud. He made that in Microsoft Paint. Isn't he such a good artist? I think he's such a
He
good
is
artist.
awesome. Yeah.
What a
We
cool
need to
dude.
have pins made,
Yeah.
but we
I'd
can't
I'd
charge
put one
for
on
'em
my
because
jean jacket.
he would want a part of
He
the
would
revenue.
want compensated. That is a
Yeah.
fact. He
There you
would
go.
say, "If are you going to sell those? Because I want some. I want."
Nor would we ever sell the music because it was given to us for free by
Yes, Brockwell
created.
Mason. If you want to check out his music, you should. It's on any place that you can listen to music. Apple Music,
Woo!
Spotify. Brockwell Mason. He made our intro music. Our Facebook page. We don't have a Facebook page. Our YouTube is created and maintained by Big Pops
Pops.
himself, and
Yeah.
I edit and upload. We have such a good time doing this, friends. Thanks for
Absolutely.
hanging
We are
with
on
us.
we're on Amazon, Apple, Podbean, Spotify. I think that's it. I don't
All
know.
the places,
You
where you
should
could, you
rate
should,
and review with 10 stars.
the maximum one, man.
Yes. Don't rate and review us with 0 or 1 or 2 or 3 or 4.
Just 5. Only.
five. Yeah. There you go.
LOL.
Next episode is our 25th anniversary. I can't believe
Woo!
we've done 25 episodes.
I mean,
And
we haven't, but we will.
We couldn't do it without supporters like us. So
And
wait a
you.
minute. I'm sorry.
Dad, you're a hooligan.
I know we would do it with no matter. But
Well, thanks for
we do love our 3
hanging.
followers.
6.
6 followers. There you go.
6.
And we love our people who share. So there you go. I
Yes.
think next on the 25th, we'll do a giveaway. And if you share, we'll put your name in the hopper for a giveaway. That would be fun, wouldn't
What
it?
kind of? Okay, I mean,
I don't know.
sure.
We'll figure something out.
Okay,
There
that
you
came
go.
out. Okay, sure.
Awesome.
Thanks for hanging with us, friends, and we will catch you on the flip side.
All right. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye. Our sweet friends on the Facebook. Thanks for hanging. We
Yes.
appreciate you. And we'll talk to you later, Gator.
All right. Bye bye, guys.
Bye.